past few games, but we've seen a lot more aggressive junglers just from everybody. Did you kind of feel like that threw off your guys' composition?
It basically meant we'd probably just try to stay even mid or early game because the way a Maokai matchup works is you can't really cross the river unless he knows where.
Ale, Diana might be the picks for complexity here, or the bans, I should say.
Yeah, I mean, you just look at Kiwi Kid. It's like, he's Singed. You have to get rid of that. He played top lane Diana. You look at Skara. It's Kale you have to get rid of. He also loves mid lane Diana and Gragas. I'm a Cutie Pie. You have to ban Draven. Crumbs you have to ban Vi or Xin Zhao. It's like there is so much threat. Patoy you have to ban Alistair. It's like so many things that have been working so well for Dignitas. It's quite a tall task preparing your bans for them because it's like, all right, we're going to ban out half your stuff and you're still going to get your favorite champions unless somehow Complexity has learned all of Dignitas' favorites.
I really think Diana would be a good ban here since it's a double pickup for them, and aggressive has just been so Skara on it.
Yeah, you got the Diana ban right off the bat.
So aggressive, yep.
That leaves Vi up though, right? Or even Xin Zhao. If they think Xin Zhao's higher priority than Vi, they're going to let Loudamortis have it if he wants it. Tarek Jarvan is also still available.
I think he super wants it. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing that everyone picks after Xin Zhao.
Oh, there you go. There's one of them. Loudamortis locking that one in for MIA. We'll have to see what Nick Wu picks in. They are kind of discussing this one out. There's Nick talking to his team.
Yeah, I don't think Complexity should fall for this one. I think Dignitas is trying to bait them into a Tarek Jarvan pick. Dignitas loves running double AP. They still have Elise up. There's still Gragas up. They could do almost whatever they want. So if Complexity goes too all in the armor ores, I think Dignitas is just going to ignore it.
Nick Wu takes Shen. Complexity did find their first win when he was on that champion. And we'll see if Dignitas does go for the double AP. They aren't looking at the armor aura stack right now, so they may not want to show that AP hand just yet.
They still got Alistair available.
Yeah, right. They can pick that out, not show too much.
They could still be Draven, right? And like last time against double AP, they did go for the Kog'Maw because it was just a really good pick for I'm a Cutie Pie. Like everything is available for Dignitas right now. I feel like they're going to want to pick safe though, so it's like a support and maybe a top laner like Elise to go against Shen. I don't think they expect Loudamortis to be up top lane or in the jungle with Shen. They're pretty sure he's going straight up against Nick Wu. And yesterday, we saw Kiwi Kid obliterate Boy Boy with Elise, so he's very comfortable on the Spider.
And the pickup will be Zyra. So they do keep it kind of ambiguous. They don't really tell too much there.
I think that's support for Patoy, though.
Like, if it's going to be.
For a lot of teams, like if you're going over to Fnatic,
you don't know
where Expeke plays a whole bunch of Zyra, but these guys have done enough research that they're like, yeah, Patoy's got the support Zyra now. And that's a pretty good pick against Tarek. Tarek needs to run straight at you to get the stun. If Patoy plays it right, it's a dangerous pick, but if you play it right, you're going to root him every time that he tries to come up, get the slow plants out, and just stop him from being aggressive.
Chuper has enjoyed a bit of Lux throughout the LCS. We'll have to see what he decides to pick here. We'll keep him safe against a good amount of long-range stun up and gap closer that they have going on. The Draven actually pulled off for Complexity. Chuper had a smile on his face there. So they're hovering it, messing with the heads of Scar, or Dignitas rather, right now if they decide to lock it in.
And I feel like Chuper doesn't want to pick his mid lane champion here. He wants to be able to counter pick Scar. So there's going to be like the jungler and the AD carry probably coming in from this one. Yeah, there we go.
Boom.
They got the Maokai and the Kog'Maw.
It's like somebody picks something, it gets played in the next games. Happened with Xerath yesterday. We got some Maokais coming in today. I like it. I like everybody.
It's still one of my favorite League of Legends videos is Donkey's That's the Best right now. Every time you die to something, you're like, Talon is the best right now. So clearly he's just so overpowered. And, oh, Karthus is, and it's just over and over. Pro players unintentionally mimic this all the time because as soon as they lose to something else, a lot of times the more mature teams stay away from it because they can understand their own mistakes, but a lot of teams are just like, man, we lost to that because it's overpowered, and they just pick it themselves.
So good. Oh, man. I actually played Cho'Gath for the opposite reason. I saw him play, somebody play him, and I was like, I think I can play that better.
He's like, he's just not using him to his full potential.
Exactly. So we see Caitlyn in here for a little bit more range coming in for not really a poke comp, but definitely a damaging composition from that range. And they could really just solidify that with a new. Oh, nope, they solidify it with more poke comp.
Oh, baby. So that's probably a mid lane Nidalee for Skara. And if they go with the Caitlyn, it's probably a Caitlyn or an Ezreal, but that's a cool lane. Whoa, Draven. That's not a poke comp. That's just a Draven comp.
No, it's a Draven comp.
Yeah.
Switch it back.
I was going to make a nice, cool point about, like, that's the highest auto attack range on a support and an AD carry in the same lane. But now it's a Draven lane, so.
Hold the facts.
Everything is gone.
For another day. We have MIA here to round out the picks. Will it be Lux for Chuper in mid? Kind of goes along with the pick that they have with that Kog'Maw, but everybody else is going to be jumping into that fight right now, so we'll see what they decide to go with. Lux would be great because you can shield the whole team on that jump in.
It can, but since it's like a spiky poke team that Dignitas has, I don't like Lux as a pick against a mid Nidalee because you can land your combo on Nidalee and she will heal it up fairly substantially. It's like when the Xerath was picked against a Nidalee and that didn't work out. He's got to get something with like more of a hard initiate to kind of stop their kite, or either more sustained damage. Like if he plays something like Rise,
I was gonna say
I'd expect that to be a pick. I don't know if he does though, and they need some kind of hard initiate, high damage champion. They're taking their time.
Orianna could definitely be in for a choice. They have 1 second left to lock this in. And I think
that was a real pick.
MIA giggling it out here. Yeah, I did choose that. And they switch it up to Chuper.
All right.
It's going to be a Kassadin.
So at least Kassadin can get in for the initiations, right?
Yeah,
but
right.
It will be healed up. That's going to be a very interesting lane. You look at Complexity's team comp, and it's going to be needing Brunchu to get very farmed and fed. Just like Chaox in the last game, he's a huge damage source, and they have great defensive line for him. Tarek, Shen, and Maokai. Aside from 2 picks, that's a fairly similar comp to what TSM had last game, so they might be looking to stall this one out. You look at Dignitas, of course, it's the lane, right? It's the poke from Skara. I'm a Cutie Pie's on his favorite Draven. Kiwi Kid's on a very comfortable Elise, right? Crumbs is going to be looking to counter gank the lanes. He puts a lot of pressure on. It looks like business as usual for Dignitas from this team comp.
And I feel like Complexity kind of put themselves in a hole to start here. It's been Loud Mortis focus. We just had an interview with the Odd One that said if you're Maokai, you can't cross the river against a Xin Zhao. That's what he's against. If they put any pressure on him, it's right off the bat again for Loud Mortis. He's going to have trouble.
He's going to have to be patient because if he tries to press too hard on Maokai, Crumbs would be there for the counter gank, right? That's what we've seen time and time again. Loud Mortis is an extremely experienced Maokai player, though, so I'm pretty sure he has this stuff under control. We'll have to see how he's able to do that because Dignitas has been punishing almost everyone who tries to just gank them, and they're keeping their pressure up. Yeah,
Crumbs has been there for everybody. We're going to have this coming in now. So the Nidalee versus Kassadin lane, obviously he's not going to want to step out from behind those minions at any point in time.
That's going to be a very interesting lane before level 6.
Yeah.
Because once they hit level 6, it's just they can just like fly away from each other at any moment. But before then, they would be vulnerable to ganks. So maybe the early ganks will be focused in the mid lane while they're both without their blinks and ridiculous armor MR pouncy auras.
All right. We are into the game here. Dignitas versus Complexity as we are in the second game of the day. Continuing on to see who can take this matchup in their favor. Complexity coming off a little bit of a rut here. They are trying to find their stride. They go with a Kassadin in mid. We'll have to see what this composition can do for them. Like we said, Nick Wu found a win on Shen with Complexity for that game that he played it. So he puts himself on a comfortable character in that top lane. Like Jat said, loving the ninjas, but he is up against that experienced Kiwi Kid. We saw how well he could play Elise. We'll have to see what he can do if they do decide to go 1v1 in these lanes. Right now they're going power and numbers as they roam around the map. Cutie Pie, I think, got a glimpse there.
Yeah, he's getting the hell out of there, and they're hot on his tail, right? He's having to get away here. Complexity burning a lot of wards running through this jungle. That's the second one MIA has placed. I feel like he's going to want to place a third as well, so Dignitas will know that down in their red jungle there's a lot of vision available for Complexity.
So Loud Mortis may get a lot of aggression early, but he's going to know exactly where it's coming from. They're trying to stave it off right from the beginning.
And from here, Complexity now has to move in, but like when they started invading bottom, just because I'm a Cutie Pie was putting himself up as a human ward, Dignitas got off the wards that they wanted. So 3 wards down from each team. Now the barrage of ping starts coming up, but it does look like Crumbs wants to start it as red just so that he gets out of the warded area as quickly as possible so he can become unpredictable.
So Kiwi Kid forced to use a, not forced to use the ward, what's that?
There's something happening up top. This is something that Legion used to do. They stack 3 people in the top lane, and they just go for the bush kill at level 1.
The bushwhack is...
Kiwi Kid's trying to get the early experience. He's kind of expecting a 2v1 lane. This has not been a strategy that has been used for quite a while, but like, Legion actually did this fairly often, and it actually had a very high success rate, so Kiwi Kid might be in a bit of trouble up top here.
If they get it, they have 2 perfect stuns coming up for themselves, so it would be quite easy if they were able to do it. Looks like they're going to get some help on the jungle. I figured they would be a little bit more counter here, but they do go back.
Oh no, don't go back, Nick Wu. He's just coming.
Middle. Cutie Pie's in mid right now. They're going to go for the double AD support in mid. It's going to be Kiwi Kid up top. Brunchu will show, and they got to know they're going to stack these. There's one. No, the repel goes out. He doesn't get hit there, but they're going to stay in the middle. The taunt goes down. Kiwi Kid goes for the flash. He played that perfectly. The ignite will not kill him.
He hit level 2 at such a fortunate moment. He got the full experience from his own jungle, so when he threw that volatile spider at the creeps, it killed enough that he could immediately skill his repel and use that to avoid the stun. That's the only reason he lived. That was such a narrow escape, but awesome play by KiwiKid, leveling up that spell so quickly and getting the escape.
So what happens here, Jat? We usually don't see the AD carry in mid with the support, but it's an easier transfer in the lane. Would they want to do it now? You're not losing as much experience, or you think they still want to pressure KiwiKid now that the Flash and Summers are down?
They're probably going to keep that 2v1 lane, but this is something Dignitas did yesterday. They're doing the double mid with Scar bottom strat, because Nidalee is actually a pretty good solo laner, whereas they're forcing Chuper into an uncomfortable situation, so they're just out-gaming them a little bit to give them their small edge.
I remember seeing the Twitter answers. What am I watching? Twitter tweets. Oh,
Whoa.
First Blood actually coming out. What is this dive behind the mid turret coming in? We're going to get a replay of that most likely as they continue to pressure this turret. And what we've seen in the top and the bottom turrets dropping, they're going to drop the most important turret in the game, or at least put a ton of pressure on it.
And that mid lane pressure is much more than Complexity expected. Nick Wu just kind of meandered back into that lane and got Draven right afterwards. So can't wait to see how that happens, because I was not expecting a gank that early. I don't think anybody was.
Not at all. PewDiePie double buffs in mid now. He is going to be able to wreak havoc there, especially with Chuper coming back, or not Chuper coming back on this, rather, them coming back to the lane. And we are going to check out a replay on that last kill as they continue to farm up the early game.
Yeah, and here was the dive. I mean, Loudamortis, here's what happened. Crumbs invaded Loudamortis, got him in the jungle, and then Draven runs through post-flash and just crushes Loudamortis. That makes perfect sense. So again, the early aggression from Crumbs, the mismatch of Xin Zhao versus Maokai, and he's already put the punishment on.
And that was a huge amount of communication that came in from that too, because both Patoy and PewDiePie flashed at the same exact time for the root, the grasping root, and Patoy's attack, or rather PewDiePie's attack. So they were absolutely on point for that coming in behind the turret. Still a quick pressure on this, and we can see Nick Wu now in mid, just trying to stave off the damage on his turret, but they are relentless, Jeff.
Yeah, apologies, I did not follow that one very well, but afterwards, PewDiePie came out with the double buffs and Crumbs behind Chuper for a dive.
Oh, the spear hits perfectly. One last hit. The Ignite will not be enough. He's going to get some damage or health off of this and keep himself up.
Are you kidding me? 2 ganks behind a turret for Crumbs before level 4 for a 2-0 kills? Like, that's not counter ganking anymore. That's just ganking really aggressively because he knows he has Loudamortis on his back foot.
And that's what we said about Crumbs earlier. When you think about Crumbs and the great ganks, you think about the lane as well. PewDiePie and Patoy flashing in. That was great for First Blood, double buff pickup. In the bottom lane, an awesome spear coming in. These guys are completely on point. And Crumbs, they are the dude that gets fed the information. We heard it from him before, and he is using it to its maximum potential right now.
Yeah, and I remember our This Is Super Weak trailer before this when we had PewDiePie in there. He was like, with 5 games, if you win the first couple, it's awesome. But if you lose the first few, it's just the most miserable time ever. And I think we're seeing both of those happen right now with Dignitas, who's way up after going 3-0 yesterday, and Complexity, who's still struggling hard.
You see PewDiePie taking some tower. Wow, he gets actually quite low there. Loudamortis from the outside. His flash is down, though, and he was low on mana.
And look at what Patoy is doing to Loudamortis right now. Like, they're just picking on his jungle Maokai right now. They're not letting him even do his own wolves in the jungle. He's having to try to steal them away. This is not a pleasant thing for him to be doing.
Chat, we said it in the beginning, focus Loudamortis, or they are going to focus Loudamortis. The kill coming in from Crumbs is he knew he could get the cross-river counter or engagement in on their red buff, and now down towards the bottom because they have vision of Loudamortis in mid.
And with the mid turret being down, Patoy's free to roam, so Chuper in a lot of trouble. No flash, and he's slow.
Just pre-6 as well. How unfortunate. He was almost at 6.
Every little advantage Dignitas is jumping on top of, right? Like, they forced Chuper into a solo lane to begin with, which allowed Scar to burn Chuper's flash early, which allowed Crumbs to then gank him. And then because they ganked him, they realized Scar would hit level 6 before him, so they made sure they could get another gank down bottom. They're just working so well together right now, Riv.
Absolutely amazing. Another turret going in their favor here as they look to drop down the bottom one. Another 150 gold for everybody around the den. And it looks to be 11,000 to 7.5 thousand gold right now. And look at this, they're just going right into the jungle. They feel completely confident to continue countering.
Well, here's the great thing. They pink ward.
Oh my gosh.
They pink warded Loudamortis' pink ward. So, like, Loudamortis really wanted to get a pink ward so he could control his own blue buff. But Dignitas was another step ahead of him still, stealing that away. And they are making sure to keep Loudamortis down here.
So Loudamortis didn't have double buffs for too long. They don't get the second blue buff coming in. Just everything going against Complexity right now, and Dignitas is not letting up at all. The attacks come in. Trooper tries to slow them off of the engage here, but everybody is there for Dignitas. They're kind of piling into that funnel, which was a little scary for them, but with the strength in their power, or the strength in their numbers right now, they were able to take that, and they still look aggressive.
Crumbs is not using his own jungle. He's just invading.
Loud Mortis taking so much to stand aside, hits the dive in, the last shield from Shen keeps Loud Mortis alive with a sliver. The ultimate coming in takes him down. Cutie Pie picks up another one, 2-0-1 already.
This is brutal by Dignitas right now. They are just not giving Complexity an inch to breathe. Like, all of Dignitas's jungle is up right now. They are in Complexity's side. We were worried about Loud Mortis not being able to cross the river. He can't cross out of his base without getting killed right now, and another buff steal coming for Dignitas.
That can affect the game a bit.
That's going to be a bad thing.
They can rep the red. It looks like they are going to give that over to Cutie Pie, so he stays buffed up as well as the double buffs wore off a little bit ago. He's refreshed with the red.
No, Brunchy's
they
in trouble
could
now
go
too?
in for a brunch. They go in for the execution. He gets some good damage. A great cocoon causing the cleanse summoner to come out. Kiwi Kid doing what he can with a sliver of health for himself. Patoy looking to grasping root right over the edge.
And they're going to look to pressure down this turret. It's a 3-on-2 with a very low health. No cleanse, no flash brunch you. So they might not get the turret in this push, but they're well on their way to the third turret of the game with almost no pressure coming back in any way, shape, or form from Complexity.
Cutie Pie's ultimate still pretty far from coming back up. They got to be careful how much mana they have. But with the wards, they're not seeing any pressure. So they're saying we don't have to be careful at all. 5-0 right now as they're not letting Complexity gain any ground in this matchup. At 10 minutes in, they look to push this top lane, and they've dropped the other two turrets on the outer tier. They just look to keep poking. Really, I'm a Cutie Pie and Patoy, the AD carry and support, as they would, putting themselves back in the farm lane for now.
Yeah, it's really funny, as you mentioned, the wards. Like, Dignitas has 3 wards on the map, but none on their own side of the map.
Yeah.
Like, they are living in Complexity's stuff. Because they're rooming together, so they're just taking over their house.
There you go. So we have a little bit of damage there. Kiwi Kid Q's coming out all over the place to harass Nick Wu. Nick Wu in that lane, though, like we said, it looks like he said having some trouble. They've been pressuring that bottom lane a little bit here and there. Oh, he was in mid previously. We should announce that. But he does have the Giant's Belt. He was 2v1 against the AD support. He has the red elixir that he didn't have to use, or has picked up another one if he did decide to within those engagements. So he's still playing well for his team. Loud Mortis, we'll see if the team can really start to get around him as well. Again, like we said, start to help out from everywhere.
Yeah, and Complexity trying to stay in this one. They're finally able to clear some of their own jungle, but like, ouch. They're losing the dragon right here. This is what's about to become a greater than 50% gold lead 10 minutes into the game, and it's not only a gold lead, but it's a level advantage for Dignitas as well, right? Even Kiwi Kid has a level on Nick Wu, and Nick Wu has been the one doing the best of the people on Complexity so far this game. They have all the buff control. Crumbs is coming in behind Complexity right now, and Loud Mortis is again in trouble.
Looks like they're pushing out Loud Mortis. Oh, the ultimate keeps a lot of that damage away. Trooper comes in to give him the assist, but he may have caused himself to go down here. He gets the rift. There's not going to be enough for one more. He tries to burst down Skara. The barrier is there, and they continue to press down mid.
And that was actually a really nice escape by Loud Mortis. He put his Arcane Smash, knocked them back at just the right point, and was able to get away, but it wasn't enough. Dignitas kept chasing, and they finished off Trooper.
Patoy, oh, Patoy getting a little aggressive here. All he wanted to do was ward, but look what he's done. He kind of took away a few attacks there. I don't think they used the Summoner. He may have used Ignite. I don't believe so, though. It was just the Dazzle and the Zyra ultimate. So good engage there. Didn't really get what he wanted.
Complexity trying to fight back, but at 18.3k to 11.8k, it's a little tricky. And I think the top tower is going to be going down pretty shortly for Dignitas here in the top lane, because Crumbs is pressuring around the back and Cutie Pie is too fierce.
They are pushing back Brunch U right now. We can see it showing in the inventory. 85 to 68 in minions, 2-0-1 for Cutie Pie. And he is just loving that KDA increase right now. We'll see a big smile on his face if they can make it to the Nexus at the end of this game. But Complexity has a different thing on their mind. They want to try to stave this off. We saw what TSM did, so they're probably taking notes from that as well. How to kind of turtle it out somewhat. Nick Wu just trying to dodge spears coming out of the fog of war. That's how much harassment they're getting. He can't even be in lane to just farm minions.
And they need to find ways to kind of stop turret pushes, but they don't have the same tools that TSM had, right? Like Xerath was able to harass AD carries while they're hitting turrets with his super long range, but Trooper is going to have to kind of dash in if he wants to create the same kind of action, so I don't know if Complexity has the same stalling tools that TSM had there, and Mortis tried to save his own blue buff, but Crumb still got the smite.
Crumb's getting dazzled out. They have good vision of what's coming at him right here, but it may not be enough. Kiwi Kid with a great cocoon. The pop back from Crumbs and the forced flash out. Not there. Cutie Pie tries to throw his ultimate in. It looks like they're going to drop MIA here, and they could get initiated on. They just got the exhaust to waste. Trooper coming in. He is actually quite squishy, so he does not choose to go in for the fight.
21,000 to 13,000, 13 minutes in. So
yeah.
3 turrets to 0, 7 kills to 0. This is trouble, and the stuns just continue. This game
is... Oh my gosh. Trooper getting taken out right there. He had a great rift over the spear, but it put himself in a terrible position where he was completely zeroed out, and it looks like they're going to be able to get this turret. They're not letting up. A relentless push in the bottom lane from Dignitas. We haven't even seen Brunch U in this fight. He's been farming top lane.
Last game was over an hour. We might be making up for it with this one. This game could be over really quickly, Riv, with the power that Dignitas has accumulated early. I mean, if it keeps going like this, they're going to be double gold of Complexity at some point. They are destroying them right now. The
positioning for Scar to walk back in front of the base steps without any mana, they know they have control. They feel very confident, and just in the movements they're making, that's telling that story. 8-0, 14 minutes in. 5 turrets, a shutout on turrets right now for Dignitas as Complexity looks to start making some moves. The Dragons really haven't even been a focus. Complexity hasn't had a chance to dictate anything of their own.
And I mean, it's not even a matter of Complexity pressing in this one, right? Like before the game, we were saying that they've been trying a little bit too hard. This game, they've just been punched in the face from the start of it and haven't been able to get back up.
And you just see Cutie Pie, 3 attacks taken out, and he was able to pretty much push them off there with just a grasping root from Zyra. They know he is scary. He goes actually for the fast Bloodthirster to keep just pounding on that damage as he just charges up the stacks, continues to go around. You see him picking up the red buff right now. They are getting ready for that next engage. The boots of mobility on Crumbs. He loves that. The Locket of the Iron Solari coming out. They're fight ready.
Morellonomicon on Scar as well. That's his favorite item. I mean, he was building that every game. On Gragas as well. He tried to go in by himself for the red steal, and instead of Complexity turning on him 2v1, they just decided to run in the other direction, because like you added up the gold really between Taric and Kog'Maw, it's about 6,000. Scar is at 5,500, so he's almost 2 people right now of Complexity.
See what he can do. Those spears are going to hit like 2 people. Half of your health bar, there's a good chunk of it going on to Brunch U, and they're just forcing rifts away from Chuber, simple attacks and basic attacks here. Complexity is using everything defensively at this point.
And they have to. They are so far behind at this point that they need an experience swing in the first place. Like if they can kill anybody on Dignitas who is multiple levels ahead of them, they will get almost a full level of experience. Like a Taric at level 6 being in range of a level 11 will get almost a full level worth of experience with the way it scales up, but they just can't get themselves into a situation to do that.
Going down, take a look at Complexity's items here. You can see the recipes being pieced together. And Dignitas can see this. Pit tab, they open it up. That shows them a gigantic gold lead right now. Even the Sightstone upgraded on Dignitas' side with an Oracle's ready right after that. And a red elixir even for Skara for the engagement.
It's really funny how you look at Complexity's items and it's like, okay, we're going to build this item. And you look at Dignitas and they have all completed their items. They're just that far ahead.
Yep. Crumb's now pressuring that middle a little bit with Patoy as they continue to get a split push going. They are just trying to cause so much trouble for Complexity right now. Mortis doing what he can to just grab that, and they can't even do it without losing almost half of their health for both of them. They wanted a golem, Jad.
Did they get it?
I think they got him.
I think
Mortis got the big guy.
Yeah, it was probably worth it.
So, that wasn't. Brunch U going down under the turret. Crumbs and Cutie Pie rather coming up big there. 3-0 and 1 for him. Great scores on the side of Dignitas right now, as they are not letting Complexity breathe. That stranglehold tactic, rather. Crumb's going a little too deep here. They may find that first death. Lock of the Iron Solari comes out and he forces the flash over the side. They go to engage, and Cutie Pie, he has used that speed steroid, so he's right in range. Huffs his ultimate off the side of the map, and it looks like they're going to continue in on this fight. Actually, he gets one down. Patoy actually picks up the kill on support, giving himself a kill. Cutie Pie follows in with the flash. Nick Wu is going to be the last one there, and it looks like they're able to take him down. Crumbs, the ignite does not tick, and he gets away with a little bit of everything.
I bet you Complexity really just wanted that one kill. Like, could you give him one kill, Crumbs? You're living with the guys. Give him a kill. But no, it's 12-0.
Not going to have it. Said they don't feed Cutie Pie, so they're trying to get them in now. He's getting as much as he can. Cutie Pie getting himself nice and big. 4-0-3 after that fight. It looks like they almost took down Crumbs, as we saw there, but he continued to engage. He actually has that emblem of valor now. I don't think he had it for the last fight, but could have helped him stay alive. We'll just say it did.
2 inhibitors down at 17 minutes, 45 seconds. They're working on the third inner turret. Complexity does not have a play here that I think works.
It's going to be tough. Where do you go in? That Orianna pick, something else than Kassadin in mid would give you such a better utility for the rest of your team. They could really put the ball onto Lauda Mortis to jump in and get something going. Nick Wood jumps, get something going. Right now, that's all they have, and Lauda Mortis is going down very fast. Dignitas focused where the initiation was coming from right off the bat, so it couldn't happen.
And the big thing for Complexity in this game, to like the big takeaway, is they have to make sure they don't turn on themselves too much and that they don't get down on themselves and that they're not raging at each other now, because like anything that happens at this point is out of their control. Everything has already happened. So like another death or another score that comes through, they have to make sure that they don't turn on themselves for any kills or deaths, because like this kind of stuff is really painful for a team. I know like the last game that was kind of this one-sided that I remember seeing was SK Gaming versus Eclipsia in Tales of Lane over in Paris, and that was Eclipsia actually beating SK Gaming, so it was a big upset. This one was a favorite kind of beating an underdog really badly, but these kind of losses are not super easy for most teams to come back from.
16,000 gold, forcing the flash on Scar there. 2v1s can still be in their favor. It's not been a lot of health built up here. Dignitas is just building that pure power. You can see Scar still looks a little squishy. He's taking some damage there. But what he is going to trade back is really what is turning Complexity away. So if they can find the 2v1s, if they can catch somebody out, they can start to get that bounty back that they're looking for.
The biggest issue though now is that 2 inhibitors were cleared on Dignitas' last push, so they got 2 waves of super minions coming into the base, and Complexity is not ready to deal with super minions. Their items have not reached a point yet. They still don't have a tier 3 item in any situation, and here comes Dignitas.
The dive in, look how low Lauda Mortis is. He only gets to use his ult here. They know he can't dive back in. He almost goes down to the fountain. Actually, the spiders follow from Kiwi Kid. They are wreaking havoc right outside the steps of the fountain. Eyes all on the Nexus turret chat. Dignitas looks to continue their win streak here to 9 games in a row, and it looks like eyes on the turret or the Nexus. It's going to go down, and they will be able to thwart Complexity on a win.
They didn't even give them a chance to surrender. They ended the game before 20 minutes.